Hey, Shalom, y'all. Peace to the family. Welcome to my channel. My name is Jackie Selah, and I'm going to try to make this quick. Um, I just had a little something in my craw last week, and I still just got a little bit I want to get out, and then I'm going to be done with this, y'all, I promise. Um, I'm going to start off by going with the copyright disclaimer. It's the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. It allows for fair use um, for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. All right. The name of this little bit, I'm going to call it When Truth is Stranger Than Fiction, They Call It a Myth. And what I want to just touch on, y'all, is really I'm talking to these so-called experts. I showed you a couple of them last week down in Alabama that were doing little presentations on who they thought were Native Americans, and they were both our white neighbors. And I just thought it just takes a whole lot of nerve knowing the history um, to even say that you're an expert on that subject. But then, of course, you're not, because you stand up there and talk about people who are not the indigenous, who are not the first people, and you say they are. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not an expert, and we want you to stop. So listen, speaking for myself as and probably others, I'm going to assume, who know that they are indigenous Americans, we want to let you know we have our own experts. We have our own researchers, teachers, scholars, and inquisitive, bright minds who have dug through all the crap that y'all put down, the lies, the misconceptions. You didn't know what you were talking about. You misclassified whole groups of people because you didn't know what you were talking about. But our people, in their wisdom, have gone down the rabbit hole and come up with the truth of our history, which is what we were looking for. But believe me, when they were looking for our history, they also figured out the lies y'all told about times. Your chronology is off. um, the earth ain't round. You didn't go to the moon. Oh, there's just so much. Okay. But what I'm here to do today is just to offer you a little bit of redirection. We want you to get back on your path and you become an expert on your history. Because I'm going to tell you, your children and your children's children are mad. They're all over YouTube and TikTok because they've done research and they done figured out that their teachers and their grandma and their mom and their dad and their uncles and everybody done told lies about a whole bunch of stuff, and they're ticked off. Okay? So I mean, do it for your people. Do it for us, but do it for your people. They want to know their history. Okay, so get on over into your lane, and if you need some help, I'm here to offer a suggestion. Okay, this is just one, but I have more. So if you ever need more, let me know. Um, if you're listening and you have subject matters that you think that these so-called the Caucasian experts, if you have subject matter that you think they should investigate, put it down in the comments. Let's give them some suggestions. All right, but here's mine. Let's start with this. This is called the Wild. This is about the wild man. We're going to go ahead on and get this from Wikipedia. It says the wild man. Now, I mean, this has been touched on. You can um, Google it. You'll find a whole bunch of stuff. You could go on YouTube. People have done videos. I even have a couple here. I'm going to show you a little bit of, but it's people know about this. Anyway, the wild man of the woods, or woodwose, is a mythical figure and motif that appears in the art and literature of medieval Europe, comparable to the satyr or faun type in classical mythology, and to Sylvanus, the Roman god of the woodlands. The defining characteristic of the figure is its wildness from the 12th century. It was consistently depicted as being covered with hair. Images of wild men appear in the carved and painted roof bosses, where intersecting ogee vaults meet in Canterbury Cathedral, in positions where one is also likely to encounter the vegetable green man. The image of the wild man survived to appear as supported for a heraldic coat of arms, especially in Germany, well into the 16th century. Renaissance hijack engravers in Germany and Italy were particularly fond of wild men, wild women, and wild families, with examples of Martin Schongauer, who died in 1491, and Albert Dürer, 1471 and 1528, among others. So there you have it. That's just the general um, explanation on the wild man. They say it's a mythical figure, but I'm just going to tell you he's all over Europe. He's even in India. He's legendary, and it's just interesting for something that's talked about and celebrated. They have holidays, and you'll just find them in history. King Charles set the roof on fire, and it had something to do with wild men. So I mean, it's just interesting that something that's not real is just so prevalent in European history, right? So, I mean, I just have questions. All right. This young young man, his name is Petrus Gonsalves, or in Spanish is Pedro Gonzalez, referred to by Ulysses Aldrovandi as the man of the woods, became famous during his lifetime because of his condition, hypertrichosis. His life at various courts in Italy and France has been well chronicled. I'm going to read a little bit of his biography. Gonsalves first came to the court of Henry II, King of France, in 1547 and was sent there as a gift from the court of Margaret of Parma, regent of the Netherlands. He married while there. What? He got married? See, there's somebody for everybody. That's true. Later, he was moved into the court of Alexander Farnese, Duke of Parma. Four of his seven children were also afflicted with hypertrichosis universalis and painted. His family became an object of medical inquiry by Ulysses Androvandi, among others. Despite living and acting as a nobleman, Gonsalves and his hairy children were not considered fully human in the eyes of their contemporaries and were gifted, like their father was, to other nobles as a sort of court pet. Damn. Gonsalves eventually settled in Italy with his wife. The last known record of him is from 1617, when he was listed among those who had attended his grandson's christening. It is believed the marriage between Petrus Gonsalves and Lady Catherine may have partially inspired the fairy tale Beauty and the Beast. All right, y'all. So he wasn't mythical. This is a real dude. Look at him. Bless his heart. Oh, man. Get on out of here. Okay, here we go. Um, well, who is that? That's his wife? Oh, no. I can't read that language. Oh, look at this little children. They got their little dresses on. Mm. Oh, look at her. Oh, that's Henry. Oh, here go the names out here. I should have been saying their names. Let me see. Oh, yeah. That's just the children. Oh, that's Madeline. There's Henry. Oh, there go Antoinetta. Agostino. Wait a minute. What the hell? What I done got into? See, that's why I don't like looking at their stuff too long, because it always go into some old weird stuff. Agostino Karachi, what Harry, Mad Peter, and Tiny Aim. I don't know. But anyway, let's move on. Um, Here is this is a well-known tapestry. It's a German tapestry. The name of it is Wild Men and the Moors, circa 1440. You can find it in the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. But if you get a chance, take a good look at it. You got the wild men over here. They look kind of tall. They coming over to the Moors. The Moors are in their castle. I guess they was minding their business. They go the king, they go the queen, the prince. Then you got the soldiers coming out to defend the castle. A well known tapestry. Um, Now I want to go into a video. Um, this is a video by Caramel. Shout out, Drop Nation. The name of this video is Wild Men Attack Castle Filled with Noble Black Germans. Historic Tapestry from the 1400s. Moors. All right. So here, let's give a listen.
The actions of strange bearded men, clothed in handsomely styled renderings of the traditional hairy covering of the mythological wild man. Armed with stones and branches, the wild men approach a moated castle defended by dusky Moors, dark complexion, so-called black Moors, dusky Moors. All right. So who is the wild man, and who is the ones in the castle? All right, pay attention. From the upper windows of the castle, the king and queen watch the approaching horde. The attackers, in contrast to the dark-skinned defenders, all right, again, in contrast to the dark-skinned defenders are giants. But though the danger seems overwhelming, the drawbridge is down and two bowmen advance toward the invaders. To the right beyond the castle, a wild man crowned with flowers struggles with a lion. Two wild men attack a winged dragon, while still farther to the right, another wild man grabs the horn and right leg of a spotted unicorn in an effort to subdue him. The small trees which punctuate these incidents have smooth, sinuous brown trunks, each species of tree indicated by the variations of the elaborate polychrome patterns of the tuft of leaves at the top. Birds flock to one tree to feed on its berries, and tailless brown apes climb the trunk and play in the branches of another.
All right, I'm going to stop there and I'm going to move it forward a little bit because I want to get to a part that I want you to hear. Yeah, hold on one second. All right, we're going to pick up here. Caramel still talking about that tapestry, just going into more of an explanation. Here we go.
Meet at the Negro Question, Part 4, The Missing Link by Lee Cummins. Says the tapestry shows that the whites lived in tree houses and caves. They were basically poor, while the technology and wealth was in the hands of the blacks. If I was focused on race, I would have missed the true treasure that this tapestry possessed. The real treasure on this tapestry is the technology and the civilization of the black German population. We cannot allow ourselves to fall into the pit of hate because of what the New World Order has done in history. We have an obligation, all colors of people, to seek the truth and to teach the truth, no matter how hard it is to swallow. All right, he makes a point there.
Yeah.
We have an obligation,
Facts.
all colors of.
All right, I'm gonna stop it right there. So again, if you wanna, I suggest if you're interested in learning more about this, definitely listen to Caramel's this whole video, and then you could dig on it yourself. But we want the experts to figure it out. Don't dig on it. Let them dig on it. Give them something to dig on in their own lane. All right, I take that back. Let them dig on it. All right, and then I want to shoot to this last video. Um, the name of this is called The First Religion. The name of the channel, by the way, first of all, is called Hidden History. The name of the video, The First Religion, European Wild Men and the Horned God. And he's just going to go into a little bit of the history of the supposed mythology, but again, it is just so prevalent. And once you just really look at it, you'll see how prevalent it is throughout Europe. It's in India. Um, yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a listen. I'm going to let this run for a while. Now, I'm going to tell you, he's going to get to a part where even I'm a zone out. Now, you might zone out too, but I have to let it play because this horn, the reverence regarding the horn is important. So that's why I have to let it play so you can hear. But if you zone out a little bit, I'll wake you up. I'll tell you when to start paying attention again. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead in history.
This video is going to focus on the history of the European wild man myth. Whilst the wild man of the woods idea is associated with Europe, as we shall see, this concept is something that goes back much further than the medieval art and stories. The tradition goes to the root of man's removal from or conquest over nature and is seen the world over. The wild man of the wood, or woodwoes, is a truly ancient archetype dating back to the very earliest civilizations and potentially imported to Europe from earlier folkloric traditions. Indeed, one of the earliest examples is that of Enkidu in the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh, thought to be the earliest surviving great work of literature, records the exploits of the eponymous king of Uruk and dates from around 2100 BC. It features heavy animalistic references, and a character, Enkidu, has been portrayed as being horned, possibly as the Mesopotamian bull man. Enkidu also embodies one of the earliest wild man stories. A description of him read, "His body was rough, he had long hair like a woman's, it waved like the hair of Nisaba, the goddess of corn. His body was covered with matted hair like Samagans, the god of cattle. He was innocent of mankind. He knew nothing of the cultivated land. Enkidu ate grass in the hills with the gazelle and lurked with the beasts at the waterholes. He had joy of the water with the herds of wild game."
Now, I just really want you to, if you're paying attention, notice the connection to animals. Notice the close connection. I'm not saying nothing, funny. I'm just saying that they're very much connected to the characteristics and all that of animals. Um, you'll see. Let's go.
The connection with the goddess of corn, obviously an overt if passing reference to both early agriculture and to the harvest and fertility, cannot be overlooked. This is especially the case when one considers the role of horned deities in the centuries following the Epic of Gilgamesh, but more on that later. The story tells of Enkidu's civilization after a trapper encountered him. He used a naked harlot from the Temple of Love to tempt Enkidu by having her woman's power turn him from the beasts to the world of humanity. The scheme went that after Enkidu had had sex with the woman, the animals would reject him. This turned out to be the case, and Enkidu ended up challenging Gilgamesh for dominance in Uruk, but was defeated and the pair became friends. The hero Gilgamesh was himself described flatteringly as being bull-like. When the gods created Gilgamesh, they gave him the perfect body. Shamash, the glorious sun, endowed him with beauty. Adad, the god of the storm, endowed him with courage. The great gods made his beauty perfect, surpassing all others, terrifying like a great wild bull. 2/3 they made him god, and 1/3 man. As I mentioned in my previous video about the so-called Beast of Bodmin Moor and its folkloric context, the Norse had a warrior class known as berserkers, who were sometimes referred to as Ulfhethnar or wolf-skinned. Warriors donned...
Y'all, if you zoned out, okay, come on back in. Start listening. Okay.
Animal pelts, used mind-altering drugs and danced themselves into frenzy to imbue them with the natural ferocity of wolves or bears, and the wolf aspect goes even further back to the Proto-Indo-European Koryos. These were male war bands which consisted of allegedly shape-shifting warriors wearing animal skins to assume the nature of wolves or dogs. But the horned motif for anthropomorphism goes back further still than the canine or ursine aspect. The Trois Frères cave in Ariège, France, features what could be the earliest depiction of a god, dating from as far back as the Paleolithic. The figure, dubbed the Sorcerer, was found in a cave known as the Sanctuary. It was determined to have been made in around 13,000 BC. In the 1920s, Catholic priest Henri Breuil sketched the figure, which was a horned humanoid creature standing upright on two legs. The sorcerer has been interpreted as a master of animals or spirit of nature. Its presence in the cave gave rise to theories that ritual magic ceremonies took place there in what would have been one of the earliest demonstrations of religious devotion. On seeing the sketch, the folklorist and anthropologist Margaret Murray said it represented the first depiction of a deity on Earth. It was further claimed that the
Oh
figure revealed
Lord.
shamanistic practices were taking place among incredibly ancient people. It is worth noting that similar forms of shamanism took place among both the ancient inhabitants of Siberia and Native Americans, who are thought to have originated in the region before crossing into North America via the then ice-bound Bering Strait. In fact, it has been demonstrated in recent years that Native Americans, Siberians, and even Northern Europeans all share common ancestry in the people classified as ancient North Eurasians. Did the
What?
migrating people who would settle across North America take some of their religion with them? Horned headdresses
Now
were certainly
did
often
they?
seen in some
Now
Native
look at
American
that.
rituals. This
Whoa,
brings us to
look at.
another ancient incident.
Uh. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Horned headdresses were certainly
Mm-hmm. Oh, but anyway, I'm gonna stop it right there. So, yeah, this is my suggestion for our experts, our professors out there, that did a good job of misleading people and selling bullshit. Um, I am imploring you to get back in your lane because we on this train and it's telling the truth. And if you don't get out the way, you're going to be run over. I mean, you'll just be collateral damage. So, I mean, trying to tell you politely. We tired of y'all stealing our identity and we taking it back. We taking it back. It is going to be given back to us all the way. But right now, yeah, we rah-rah for ours because we are the copper colored American, Tamerican, Indigenous American, whatever you want to say. So there you go. We don't need you, so you can go ahead on. Like Joe Clark said.
You are all expurgated. You are dismissed. You are out of here forever. I wish you well. Mr. Wright.
All right. So there you have it. Um, with that being said, I'm done here. My name is Jackie Ceylon. My byword is Indigenous American, American, Bone Thug. I give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High. Shalom.